I went hunting a few years ago with my friend Jeremy. He lived in an area called Magnolia, Texas. It was quite a bit of a drive, and he volunteered to come get me. But I wouldn't agree to it unless I can pay him gas, because I'm a nice guy. So the weekend after we set up, he came all the way from Magnolia to come get me. The drive back was calming, if not a little awkward. But something was off about him. I'm not sure what it was. I mean, I haven't seen him in a few years. So, I figured, this would be a great time to break the ice and start up a conversation. So, an hour back to the Magnolia, I asked him, "Is something bothering you?" He said, "Well, I've been having an issue lately." "Oh? What kind of issue?" I replied. "I went hunting a couple weeks ago before I called you, and I noticed something off about where I was hunting last." "Okay, what did you notice?" "Well, the property that I live on has a hunting reservation a couple of miles down the road. It's where I usually go hunting." "I didn't know that. That's cool." "Was there something off about it?" "Yes," he replied. A couple of my, "A couple of your what?" I said. "A couple of my livestock went missing. A couple of chickens, a few cows, and a goat, which I named Susie." "Well, what happened?" "I'm not really sure," he responded. I sat there and listened to him for what seemed like forever. He talked about the family's history of the land, how long he had owned the land. And he talked about Native American culture. I like Native American mythology. I was very interested in it, so whenever he said that, it instantly intrigued me. He said not too far from the reservation was an Indian burial ground. And I said, "Oh, okay. So let me guess. You want me to go hunting with you so you can try to figure out what's going on with your livestock?" "No," he responded. "I actually wanted to go hunting so I can get stocked up on deer meat for the season. But since you brought it up," he said, "why don't we go have a look at it?" "I don't know about this," I said. "It could be very dangerous, especially if we don't know what we're dealing with. Do you think it could be an animal or something?" "Quite possible," he responded. He said, "If you can help me find out what's causing this, I'll give you a few $100 for all your hard work." A few $100, I thought. How can I pass up that opportunity? I always use extra money. I said, "Okay, if I agree to help you, tell me what we're getting into. What kind of guns am I going to be using? Do you know the local flora and fauna of the place?" He said, "Yeah, I live there, so I know it very well." He said the most things you had to worry about over there are mountain lions and occasional coyotes. "Okay, and what type of protection are we going to be having?" He said, "I have a 223 rifle, if I'm not mistaken, that's what he said. And you have a Remington 870 shotgun." Now, full disclosure, I did not have a hunting license at this time, but he told me you do not need to have a gun license for a shotgun. You can own a shotgun without having a license. And I said, okay. So how long are we going to be out there? He said, overnight. We're going to try to see what's going to be happening, and if nothing happens, I'll pay you the money anyway, as a token of good friendship. Oh, okay, I responded. So about 3 or 4 hours into the drive, I dozed off. When I woke up again, a few hours later, it was already dark. And he said, we're here. I'm like, wait, we're here already? Yeah, he responded. And I said, okay, I don't really know anything about hunting. Can you give me some tips? Told me how to maintain my gun. Told me where to look for signs of animal tracks and tracking and all that. I understood the basic part of it. So I've tried to pay attention and as intently as I could. Nothing happens for a while. We set up a tent, get a fire going, have a couple of beers. I'm not much of a drinker, but I entertained him. The thought, Now, we started sharing a couple of stories between the two of us. And I shared a story with him about an incident I had when I was younger where my friend was playing Super Mario on his Nintendo, and he got so mad he threw the controller, and his mom told him she wouldn't buy him another one. And I told him I got a really good laugh out of that. He seemed slightly amused, which, made me feel a little better. He was getting ready to tell me a story, but he was cut off by a noise behind him. It sounded like a twig snapping, but we were not sure what it was, so we both grabbed our guns. I didn't bring my flashlight. I told you, I'm not a hunting expert. I'm not prepared for these things. So good thing he brought his flashlight. He shined it in the direction of the sound. We didn't see anything. And I said, did you hear that? Yeah, he responded, but I don't know what it was. Let me guess, you want me to go find out? I said. Yeah, I'll go with you. So, our guns are drawn, we're looking around. What do you think it was? I said. Probably just a rodent or something, he responded. It was quiet in the forest. So quiet that I can hear him breathing, which was very, very, very unsettling. So after a while, we didn't find anything. Went back to the campsite. Had another beer or so. Started laughing and giggling and everything. It was about 1 o'clock in the morning before we decided we wanted to turn in. He said he was going to stay up for a little while, probably another hour or so, to make sure nothing happens around the camp. And I said, okay, if you need me, wake me up. He said, alright. I was right about to fall asleep when I heard something by our tent. And keep in mind, I am a very, very heavy sleeper. So in order for something to wake me up, it has to be pretty loud. Jeremy? I responded. I got no response. Jeremy? Is that you, pal? Both fear and curiosity got the better of me. I grabbed his flashlight and I grabbed my Remington 870, and I very quietly unzipped the flap of my tent. "Jeremy!" No response. I decided to proceed outside of the camp. I didn't go too far. At least the fire was in sight. I got about 20 or 30 feet away from the camp, and I hear Jeremy's voice going, "Trey, can you hear me, pal?" It did not sound like my friend Jeremy, but it looked a lot like Jeremy. My gun drawn, I cautiously moved towards him. I blink, and he was gone. I figured my mind was playing tricks on me since I was still sleepy, and I went back to the camp. As I'm making my way back, I see Jeremy sitting on a lawn chair, pointing his gun at me, trembling. "What are you doing?" I said. He responded, "Where were you?" "I just saw you out there," I responded. "Bullshit," he said. What do you mean, pal?" "I saw you going out there by yourself like an idiot. I was looking everywhere for you, scared out of my goddamn mind, man." To which I responded, "Dude, I'm 100% I saw you out there. I wouldn't leave the campsite if I didn't think it was you." So we're both freaked out at this point. And I said, "Come on, man, let's go check it out." He was a little hesitant at first. Eventually, we both agreed to go look at it. We go by where I thought I saw him, or the other him in this case. We saw something that puzzled us. We saw... Oh, God. Oh, man. We saw a human skull sitting against the bottom of the tree. Not that it was weird, but we just figured it was weird. Out there in the middle of the forest for no apparent reason. Me and Jeremy started looking at each other, wondering, what we're going to do next. I look at him, and I simply say, "What the hell, man?" "I don't know," he responded. So, we decide to head back towards the camp. Both of us are wide awake. We both stand watch for about an hour, clutching our weapons, trembling. And then, all of a sudden, the forest was quiet once again. This frightened both me and him. Usually you can hear animals chirping, whatever. He said, "We can't stay here, man." I said, "Yeah, dude, we gotta get the hell out of here." The only problem was, our truck was 3 miles up the trail. It was either stay here, endure the night, or try to go for the truck. "Is it smart to go traveling at night?" I asked. "No, not smart at all. But I do not want to stay out here." "Me neither," I responded. Packed up our gear, holstered our weapons, and we continued back to the truck. About a mile or two going back, we've begun to hear faint whispering. But not just any whispering. We heard our own voices whispering to us. I knew he wasn't talking to me. He knew I wasn't talking to him. Then out of nowhere, the shadow ran towards us. It moved so quick. Both me and Jeremy did not have a chance to respond. We both got knocked down, face first onto the floor. My gun landed 3 feet away from me. He landed on top of his gun and was struggling to get it. I was able to reach my gun first. I grabbed my gun, stood up, looked up, aimed down the sight, and I saw Jeremy with no eyes, no teeth, smiling at me. And then he was gone. That doesn't make any sense. Jeremy is right next to me. Did you see that? I said. See what? That was... Never mind. Dude, what did you see? I saw you. With no eyes and no teeth, smiling at me. What the hell? He said. Let's get out of here. And that's the reason why I don't go hunting anymore, ladies and gentlemen. I get no pleasure out of killing animals for sport or for food. I don't even take pleasure in killing anything that doesn't deserve it. So, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the story. Now you know a little bit more about me. And just remember, take a dip in the pool of madness. You just might like the water.